Welcome to the Deficient Vegans podcast. This is episode 26. I'm the Muscle Deficient Vegan here with the Protein Deficient Vegan. You want to say hi?
Hi.
Hi, everybody. So today we're going to talk about how to survive the holidays as a vegan. From the awkward vegan talk with family and friends, maybe some easy things to bring to holiday gatherings that vegans and omnivores will both enjoy, how to survive while traveling to various holiday activities, and maybe just how to handle not going to a couple of them. But first up, new news. So, in some unfortunate news, Miyoko did not win the bid for buying back her company, the Miyoko's Cheese Company we talked about last week.
Yeah.
We're not really sure who won the bid or what they're going to do with the company. Hopefully, we still have access to Miyoko's products going forward.
Yeah, I'm hoping they keep it all vegan. I mean, I guess we don't really know what they're going to do, but I have heard a few people say they are having trouble finding Miyoko's products on the shelf, so I think it might be kind of paused currently.
Yeah.
If you're looking for a liquid mozzarella recipe, I have one on the site.
That's true. Do you have recipes for any of the other things that might go away?
I do not. I'm really hoping the butter doesn't go away because it's my favorite to use.
All right, next, the movie Wicked 2 is coming out November 21st, and we mentioned that because it's kind of crazy that both the leads in the movie, Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo, are both vegan.
I'm so excited about this movie. The first one was so good. It was so good. And it ended like the best way possible on, obviously a cliffhanger, but it was so cool. So, I don't know. I'm really excited. We're definitely going on Thanksgiving weekend.
Also, Jeff Goldblum, who's in the movie, became a vegetarian after filming the new movie. He said that the themes of animal cruelty and stuff like that in the film inspired his dietary change.
Another reason to love Jeff. I thought it was pretty cool. It reminds me a lot of the actor from Babe who went, I think, either vegetarian or vegan after he filmed Babe.
Yeah.
And then he adopted a little baby pig and named it Babe.
That's really cute.
I know.
Maybe we'll get lucky and Jeff Goldblum will join the vegan ranks one day.
Fingers crossed.
The last up on new news, Beyond Meat is coming to Hard Rock Cafe menus in North America. This one's interesting because Beyond Meat is having some troubles right now, but also they're making progress in other areas, so hopefully they stick around for a while. It seems like a really nice food option for people who are kind of transitioning or wanting to eat a little less meat and trying out either vegetarian or vegan diets. So it's nice to have kind of a stopgap product in there in the market. Yeah,
I'll be interested to see if they have vegan cheese because I hate going to places where they're like, here's a vegan burger, but the cheese isn't vegan.
Yeah, which is pretty much every place that has a vegan burger.
Yeah, so. I don't want your stupid burger without cheese. Give me vegan cheese. Bring me Miyoko's vegan cheese on some burgers.
Yeah. All right. So now getting into the main part of the podcast here. The holidays are coming up for those who celebrate. And while they can be pretty stressful already with basic traveling and planning, it can actually be a lot harder as a vegan because you got some extra considerations.
The holidays have always been stressful for me. My family's always traveling during the holidays, so I don't really like them that much.
Yeah, plus, you grew up as a vegetarian. Even though you're vegan now, you've been vegetarian since you were super young.
Yeah, it definitely makes it more challenging.
One of the issues you can have, especially as a new vegan, is that it's kind of hard to set boundaries, especially with, your family, who's obviously known you all your life. The first year that you decide that, you're going to be a vegan now or you're a vegetarian now, it's just new to your family. They're not really tuned into what that even is a lot of the time. So it can be kind of an awkward conversation at first.
Yeah, I think it's really hard because a lot of people don't really understand what veganism is. They don't really understand what you don't eat. So you're having to explain like this concept. And like, honestly, some people get a little taken aback by like you basically saying, I'm a vegan for moral reasons, because it's kind of like saying, why aren't you? So like it's like an awkward conversation to breach. And then you also have to explain like what you don't eat, which is going to create a lot of issues in the kitchen for your family. And they're probably going to wonder like, hey, you weren't a vegan last Christmas. Why can't you make this exception for once?
Most of the time, it's not because they disagree. They just don't really know what option to give you, and they're going to feel bad, and they can kind of feel like you sprung it on them, and now you can't eat, and you're sitting there awkwardly.
Yeah, I think circumstances are different for everyone, but from my experience, like setting some hard boundaries of just explaining like what I will and won't eat, and trying to explain that stuff, being upfront, and like setting expectations early is pretty helpful. Keeps you from having arguments the day of or like surprises that people didn't know, like, butter wasn't vegan or something like that.
Yeah, I think it's probably a worst case scenario. If you offend somebody and then you're having an argument the actual day of the holiday.
Oh my God. Yes. On Thanksgiving, I'm thankful for nothing.
That's not going to make you feel good. It's not going to make them feel good.
Yeah, it's just awkward all around. I actually remember when I was a kid, I was vegetarian, and one of my grandmas, she was always trying her best to make sure I was included in Thanksgiving and that she always had options, but she did not understand that fish was not vegetarian. So I just remember, like, I don't know if it was the first or second Thanksgiving we went to after I went vegetarian, but we got there and she pulls out this huge platter of shrimp and cocktail sauce, and that was supposed to be what I was eating, and it was so uncomfortable because I didn't eat shrimp, and, like, it was awkward and awful for everyone, and I think everyone was probably a little annoyed with me that I didn't eat it, because now there was just, like, all this shrimp, and then they had to eat it, which is, like, not a Thanksgiving food. It was awkward all around, and I was a little hungry, not having a main, so
Yeah.
you can avoid all that by talking about it ahead of time.
Yeah, it does seem to be a pretty common misconception, even with vegetarianism, that, like, fish doesn't count and seafood doesn't count. I don't know where
Even
that comes from.
chicken.
Really?
I had a lot of people when I was vegetarian asking, like, do you eat chicken? Do you eat fish? I think because people are, like, pescatarian or, I don't know what chicken is, poyotarian. But yeah, I actually think it's a little easier to explain when you're vegan. You're like, I don't fuck with anything that is animal or comes from animal.
Yeah.
But
it's interesting. Yeah, I never had to deal with that. I went from, a long time of just not really any restrictions to just vegan within like a very short time frame. So I never went through like the vegetarian transition period, and I didn't have to deal with a lot of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think things can be a little harder when you're a kid because you can't really advocate for yourself in the way that you can when you're an adult. There's like you kind of need your parents to really like have those awkward conversations with your relatives if you're going somewhere.
Yeah, we've actually seen, and outside of the holidays, you see a lot of posts on Reddit and on the internet of people who still live with their parents, and they're trying to do this like vegetarian or vegan thing. Their parents aren't really on board, so they're like, "Hey, what can I do? I've got this like thing that I really want to do, but I can't make it work."
Yeah,
in the way my family cooks, and it's a really hard situation.
It's really hard too because I think like a lot of parents don't really understand the veganism, vegetarian thing, and they really only know what they've heard on TV or social media, which can paint veganism and vegetarianism in a bad light, especially around like nutrition. Like you're gonna die of a protein deficiency, or you're not gonna have iron, and all of these other things. And I think they just get a little worried about their kid. Like, you're not going to be healthy if you're not eating these things that we've always eaten, and I don't know how to cook for you, and now it's like more time in the kitchen, and I have to buy different foods. But I think once you're an adult, you can have those conversations a lot easier.
Yeah, definitely. And it also makes it easier that you're not really relying on your family day to day for your food stuff.
Honestly, I'm a pretty big over planner, so I really like to talk through the menu. Not really to like force our parents to cook more options for us, but more just to make sure that the things they think they're cooking vegan are actually going to be vegan and we can eat them. Because nothing is worse than getting to your family's house and they think they've made this vegan meal for you, but they accidentally use chicken broth or something and you can't eat it. And now there's like peer pressure to eat it because like I spent all day cooking this and you can't make this exception just once.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that is probably one of the ones that would make them feel the most uncomfortable is if they went through the effort to try to make something vegan and it wasn't. And it's really easy. Even as vegans, sometimes we'll get caught up on labels or menus, or you find something like, oh, I didn't realize it had that in it.
Yeah, I mean, we did it with Morningstar a couple years ago because it said plant-based on it. And then we got it home and it had eggs. And we were like, what the fuck?
Yeah, especially difficult now that things labeled plant-based that aren't vegan. So
yeah, and I think, if you're a vegan, you probably have fallen into that trap before and you know what to look out for. But I mean, a lot of our family members cook vegan once or twice a year. So they're really not sure of what to look for on labels and stuff.
Yeah, we have a hard enough time finding servers at restaurants who understand what vegan actually is and what ingredients can't be in there, much less, people at home who just don't cook that way ever.
Yeah, neither of our families has other vegan people in it. So usually for my family, we'll go up there on Christmas Eve and we'll have like dinner. We'll have a veggie pasta, bread, and a salad. Pretty easy meal to cook a vegan and omnivore option for. And then usually we'll bring a side dish or like a vegan dessert.
Yeah. No, my parents have always been more of like a Christmas morning breakfast type thing. So that is a little more difficult to adjust because that breakfast growing up, it was always like the typical breakfast things like bacon, eggs, ham, whatever.
Yeah.
But there are definitely options. I mean, we always have like vegan pancakes, hash browns are vegan, fruits, things like that. And my family's been really supportive, even though my transition kind of came out of nowhere. But yeah, they've been great. And it's usually like, oh, how can I find this vegan thing? I'll buy these vegan pancakes or whatever. So
Yeah.
big deal.
And we don't normally go anywhere on Thanksgiving. We usually kind of stay home and do our own thing. But the couple times we have gone, people have tried making accommodations for that as well. So
yeah. So for the families that are trying to help accommodate you, there are a couple of things that might trip them up. Some of the things they might come across that they don't quite understand whether it's vegan or not.
yeah. Margarine is one of these. Just because it's margarine doesn't necessarily mean it's dairy-free. So I would stick with butters that specifically say vegan or plant-based and make sure they don't have dairy.
Yeah. Also, a lot of breads and rolls have milk and dairy in them for some reason. There are a lot that don't as well, but if you just go and grab a random bread off the shelf, it could have milk in it.
Yep. Some people don't know eggs aren't vegan. I've heard that question a lot. I get asked that question a lot, but eggs aren't vegan. Obviously, dairy isn't vegan. But other things that people don't often think about is honey is not vegan, and neither is gelatin. So if you're using normal marshmallows for like a sweet potato casserole, those aren't going to work because they have gelatin for the most part. A lot of salad dressings aren't vegan, so that's one to watch out for. If you're having like side salads or something at your family gathering, you might want to make sure people know. Because like even some like Italian dressings aren't vegan, which you would kind of think would be vegan.
Yeah. Also, some pastas are not vegan.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you're doing any kind of like meat alternatives, you got to be kind of careful on those because, like we mentioned before, Morningstar's a bitch, and they like to say plant-based when it has eggs and dairy. And I would like Morningstar to let us know what plants, eggs, and cow's milk come from. But as like an omnivore, you might not know that Morningstar's a dick.
Yeah.
So something to watch out for.
That one's a particularly sensitive topic because Morningstar for a long time has had a lot of vegan food. And then, you know, last year at some point we picked something up that was like right there with all their other vegan food. And it actually had some kind of animal product in it. I don't even remember what it was now.
I think it was like milk.
Yeah, it was like milk. And it said plant-based on the package. So like it was more vegan branded than their previous foods, but it was not vegan. So
it is really frustrating because Morningstar should know. They're one of like the OG vegetarian vegan foods. They know the difference between vegan and vegetarian. They can do better. You can do better, Morningstar. Anyway, you can also run into similar issues at work potlucks. I personally like approach it the same way because we used to have work potlucks a lot, like twice a year. But I think the best way to approach it is let people know that you're vegan, then give them the opportunity to surprise you by supporting you. And obviously, you might run into a situation where you tell everyone you're vegan and they say, screw you, and bring nothing, and then won't eat your vegan food and throw rocks at you. But maybe they'll bring vegan food. And that's actually what happened to me. Half the potluck was vegan, and it was very sweet. It warmed the cockles of my heart.
One thing I know for sure is if you don't bring it up, no vegan food is showing up. So you might as well try.
Absolutely. And then, like, I brought a cheesecake made with silken tofu, and everyone ate it, and I didn't tell them it had tofu in it until afterwards, and it was fun to watch all of them be like, I just enjoy tofu.
Yeah.
None of them had soy allergies. I knew this going in.
I thought tofu was just a mimic meat replacement or something, right?
Oh, yeah, you can make desserts out of it. We actually fed it to my super not vegan brother, and he really liked it too.
Some of the easier things you might be able to bring to your holiday gatherings, try to stick with things that don't have meat substitutes in them, just because people who are not vegan or vegetarian can get pretty weird about meat substitutes.
Yeah, if you bring something that's supposed to be reminiscent of meat, they will pick it apart.
Yeah. And I mean, you know, you're kind of giving somebody something that's supposed to be one of their favorite foods, but not quite. So if they don't expect it, I can understand. I wouldn't want somebody to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just avoid the meat substitutes in general.
That's what I do, at least. Sometimes I'll use tofu or TVP, but I don't really buy like the Beyond. I feel like, especially if it's like a brand name and you didn't make it, they tend to try to pick it apart even more, maybe.
Yeah.
At least that's been in my experience.
Chili is a really good option. people are pretty used to eating just bean chili. I think there are some kind of like regional wars about what actually goes in chili. And some people are really strict about no noodles in chili. Some people are about no meat in chili. So people are at least aware that bean-only chili is a thing and usually won't be too turned off by it. So.
And it's like a nice hearty option. Like if you go and the only option you have is what you brought, you're not going to be hungry on chili.
What's your opinion on noodles in chili?
I've never heard of such a thing.
Yeah, see, I like noodles in chili. We used to have spaghetti noodles in our chili growing up.
Wow.
What do you think about that?
I don't like that.
I think you have to try it.
We were like a tortilla chip in our chili sort of family. Like you put in the shredded cheese and then like you basically eat it with tortilla chips, which I prefer.
We did saltine crackers instead of tortilla chips.
Was your chili thick or thin?
I think it was in the middle.
Okay. Yep. I like a thick, chunky chili that isn't reminiscent of soup at all because I don't like soup.
Okay. We're going to have to get you on the spaghetti noodle train. Next time you make a chili, I'm going to sneak in a bunch of spaghetti noodles.
Yeah, that should be pretty easy to just sneak in a bunch of spaghetti noodles without me noticing. No, and I think I heard that I'm pretty sure I was told that Indiana people like peanut butter sandwiches with their chili. Have you heard of this?
I have heard of that. That's good. We used to do that too, actually. We'd have like peanut butter and butter with bread at the table, and we'd have our saltine crackers, and then we'd make little peanut butter sandwiches, and you dip them in the chili.
What is this?
Yeah, I don't know, but it's delicious.
Does anyone else do this?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't think my mom invented it, but maybe, hey, if she did, she needs to have props for it. So.
This is so weird. Peanut butter sandwiches are a meal. I don't understand what they have to do with chili.
We're going to change your chili life next time you make chili.
Oh, boy.
Anyway, bean chili is probably the best thing to bring. It's pretty easy to transport.
And it's in a crock pot already, so you don't need to use the oven if you're traveling to another person's house. I guess my second option would be like shepherd's pie. I like to make it with TVP, and I don't know. That one's pretty easy to transport as well because it has like that potato topping that kind of keeps everything from like... It's nice and stable when you're traveling in your car.
Pretty much anything that's like semi-solid you can put in a casserole dish.
Pretty good to bring. And that one's like pretty hearty too.
Yeah. Some of the sides and appetizers you might bring also, since those are super popular, especially for Thanksgiving, but even for, really any holiday or family gathering.
And especially if you're traveling and you're not hosting it, you're probably more likely to bring a side or an appetizer.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's asking you to bring the turkey for Thanksgiving from out of town.
I will bring a tofurkey.
Yeah, so scalloped potatoes are really good.
This one's my favorite because my dad always made scalloped potatoes, and he normally made them with ham, but he always made me a little section that did not have ham when I went vegetarian. And it's like he always made them the way his dad made them. So I have like a vegan version on the website that's like my interpretation of my dad's that is now veganized. And he's eaten it, and he approves.
He tried it. He liked it. He went back for seconds. I remember.
He did. Huh. It always makes me happy when my dad goes back for seconds because he doesn't really like vegan food. So,
all right. Next, taco dip. Obviously, this is something everybody's pretty familiar with.
Yeah, this is also one of the other things that I ate a bunch as a vegetarian because there wouldn't be a whole lot of options at holiday parties and stuff. Like they always had taco dip, and that was something I could eat. So, yeah, I think it's a good one.
Yeah, broccoli salad is another really good one.
Yeah, I like broccoli salad. It's pretty easy to make.
Yeah, pretty easy. Definitely easy to travel.
Yeah, we've brought broccoli salad to, I think, both of our Christmases, and everyone liked them.
Bonus for the broccoli salad, you don't even have to reheat it when you get there.
Yeah, because it's cold.
Yeah, so that's a good one. Spinach and artichoke dip is good. You have to probably bring your own chips, too.
Yep. I brought this to a work potluck, and it was met with good reviews.
Nah, good.
Yeah.
A holiday cream cheese dip is the last appetizer you might bring.
Yep. And I also brought this to a work potluck, and people like that as well.
I also like that as well.
Yeah. I am just saying, like, these are omnivore tested, like, omnivores don't hate these things. At least the omnivores I have come in contact with.
All right. So next up, some desserts that you could take. Silken pie. We have a couple of different versions of this. They're all outstanding. You just pick your favorite flavor combination from the ones on the website, and you're good to go.
Yeah, my favorite one is chocolate. Has a chocolate sandwich cookie crust and then a peanut butter glaze on top. It takes like, 10, 15 minutes to make. You chill it in your fridge for like 3 hours, but no one can tell it's vegan, and it has tofu. And so that's what we brought last year. And my brother liked it so much, he took some home. Which you guys don't know my brother, but that is saying a lot. If my brother takes home a tofu pie, like I won. I won Christmas.
Yeah. I think you may have won veganism.
I think I won everything. I won life.
Also, cookies, an old standby, obviously very easy to take to somewhere else.
Yeah. Just sub in vegan butter, and I like to do pumpkin puree where one would normally use eggs.
Yeah, and we have a couple different cookie recipes, but really just the chocolate chip cookies are kind of
Yeah.
the standard. Hello Dollies, if you've heard of those. You tell me what a Hello Dolly is.
Well, we call them Hello Dollies in Ohio, but I hear other people call them magic cookie bars.
Oh.
It's like basically graham cracker bottom layer. Make sure you get the ones without honey, obviously. And then there's like chocolate chips, and then there's a nut layer, and then there's coconut, and then there's like sweetened condensed milk, which they do make vegan. There's a coconut and oat variety. We've tried both. They're both good.
I don't remember ever having these before you made them. Maybe I did once or twice as a kid or something, but I really like these. I pretty much like anything with coconut.
Yeah.
And then graham crackers I also like a lot from like s'mores and stuff. So I really enjoy these a lot.
Yeah, my family's always been a big Hello Dolly family, and we brought these one year, and everyone ate them. So omnivore approved.
And then a couple of breakfast options if you're doing more like kind of my family does with the breakfast holiday type situation. Like we mentioned before, the TBP muffins or any kind of muffins. We make all of ours with TBP. Got a couple different varieties again on the website. These are really easy to make and travel with.
Yeah, and we also have a couple muffins that aren't TVP, and this is usually what we'll bring to family dinners because our parents aren't really that into like the protein thing.
Yeah.
We brought these pumpkin apple muffins with like a brown sugar crumble, and they seem to do pretty well.
And also hash brown casserole, a really good one of my favorites.
Yeah, and this one's really easy to make. You just need some vegan condensed mushroom soup, a bag of frozen hash browns, vegan sour cream, and some vegan cheese, and you mix it all up and you throw it in the oven. It's really good.
So those are some good options that you can take food-wise to the holiday gathering, mainly to make sure you have something to eat, but also maybe to introduce your family to some of the other options out there. And now you've had kind of the awkward conversation about you're vegan and this is what's going to happen when you get there. And then you decided what you're going to bring. So now once you're there, maybe you end up in some more awkward conversations because you know how that goes at family gatherings. People usually have an opinion on a little bit of everything or just want to hear updates about your life. And it comes up, I'm a vegan now. And so how do we deal maybe with some of those questions?
Yeah, well, luckily I don't have too many of those anymore with family because I went vegetarian as a kid and then like I've been vegan for 5 years. But my brother is very not vegan. And I think last Christmas he brought up that plants have anti-nutrients and all that jazz. And also I got him to eat tofu. So I feel like it was a win. He also is the guy that's like, I eat twice as much meat as you to cancel out your veganism, which, you know, he said since I was a kid. That's fine. Whatever. You know, little brothers. Yeah. I mean, you're just gonna, there were some family members, you know, it's gonna keep happening. So you just kind of let that roll off your back. For work, I've actually had to come up and work a lot because, like, if you're joining a new department, it's going to come up that you're vegan and people are going to want to know why you're vegan and they're going to ask you a bunch of questions and they're all going to become, like, experts on how people get protein.
Yeah.
So that's the one that I've had to deal with a lot, especially at work, is like, where do you get your protein? And so what I do, this is a tried and true method, is I pull out my FitnessPal and I show them how much protein I get. And then I ask them to let me know how much protein they get. And it never comes up again.
Yeah, because they have no idea. Most.
Yeah. It's like, wow, I just actually didn't want to know this. Yeah. So what do you do?
Yeah, so family, I haven't really run into this. My family has just kind of jumped on board right away. But, you know, I talk to people at work about it sometimes, especially around the holidays. And if I have to go to a work thing, I have to bring up like, hey, I'm vegan. Where are we eating? And, you know, I get a couple of questions like, hey, what made you decide to do that?
Yeah.
Or like you kind of get that comment like, oh, I could never do that. But even though, oh, I could never do that, people have come back around a couple of times and like, hey, do you have a recipe for this? My cousin's vegan or like my brother's wife is vegan. And I want to make them some stuff when they come over. So I would recommend in general not being hostile to people who question you about veganism so that eventually you're there for them to come to with questions if like they have a health issue and they need to maybe eat less meat or they get a family member who they find out is vegan or vegetarian. So I try to stay pretty open to conversations in general.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I've had a few people I've worked with that now eat a lot more tofu or they try like vegan foods and stuff. I'm not saying that's because of me, but you never know. Like you could spark that seed in someone.
Yeah, for sure. Also, I'm in like group chat with a bunch of fitness people, and so it comes up with the protein thing sometimes. So we've been able to drop in recipes and talk about protein and like, oh, hey, soy's actually good. So, we're never quite sure if you're converting somebody to try more things, but you're definitely out there like planting the seed all the time.
Yeah.
So my advice in general is whenever you get some questions, try to turn it into a little brief, like don't go on a rant or anything, but turn it into like a little brief mini educational thing. Like, oh, hey, we actually get plenty of protein. It's not a big deal. Do you want to see like my protein for the day? Or do you want to like, oh, no, it's like actually I have all kinds of food options. Do you want like see some examples of like some of the food I eat?
Yeah, the people that think you just eat salads, like tell them what you eat.
Like somebody, the last time I had a work thing, it was like, oh, I'm going to a vegan restaurant. I'm not going to wherever you guys are going. And somebody was like, oh, enjoy your rabbit food. And I was like, I mean, it's not like...
I'm going to eat a vegan burger with a vegan cheese. It's going to be sloppy and delicious.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, we're still working on that perception in general. But
yeah. And I think as a general rule, you can tell the questions are coming from like an open curiosity versus like hostile.
Yeah.
I think you can pick that out pretty quick. Like, if you have a hostile person that's not at all interested and just wants to be a troll, a real-life troll, like, don't fuel the fire. I mean, you know what I mean? I think it's, like, not great for your mental health if you keep going back and forth with, like, very hostile people.
Yeah, so far I've not run into that with anybody I knew before the conversation, but I definitely run into that with, like, random internet strangers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pretty much constantly.
You're not going to win. Like, don't let it destroy your mental health trying to argue. But most people you meet in real life will come in with, like, an open curiosity and, like, willing to listen and learn.
Yeah, for sure. People are, in general, much less likely to be confrontational to your face, so you can kind of take advantage of that.
You might be talking shit behind my back, but that's not my business. I don't care.
So the last thing we want to probably talk about here is travel and finding vegan food on the road. You have to actually get to where you're going for the holiday, so on the way there, you're not at home cooking, obviously, so you might want to know what some of your vegan options are on the road or maybe like in an airport or something like that.
Yeah, I have a lot of personal experience with this. I don't know what it is, but I feel like I've been traveling to holidays since I was like a baby child. As a kid, we were always like driving 6 hours to go to like wherever, like always on Christmas. And then like now as adults, we're always like driving to our parents' house on Christmas. And so one thing you'll run into is a lot of restaurants you normally rely on, those are closed. Because it's the holiday time.
Except for the Chinese restaurants.
Yeah, the Chinese restaurants are usually open.
And a lot of those do actually usually have vegan options if you can navigate the menu. So.
Yeah, and have like time to stop on your like little road trip or whatever.
Yeah.
But something to consider, like some of the things that you might have had access to on your normal road trips to wherever you're going might be closed.
Probably the best thing you can do is just pre-pack some snacks and stuff to take. So like dry roasted edamame, some kind of vegan jerky.
Chocolate seitan.
Chocolate seitan, yeah.
TVP muffins.
Yeah. So that's like easy, especially if you're in a car road trip. That's like the way to go, basically.
Yeah. If it's like longer, you might want to look into some options along the road. Gas stations actually have pretty decent options. I mean, I don't know about decent, but like they'll have nuts and trail mix and protein bars and protein cookies. Maybe they have dry roasted edamame.
Yeah, they have edible food that you can eat. So that's nice. Taco Bell, a really good option. Obviously everywhere, pretty reliable for at least a couple of vegan options that have some substance in it and aren't like processed food in a bag.
Al fresco and add the potatoes.
Yeah, fresco style basically removes cheese and sour cream and adds the pico de gallo on the Taco Bell menu. You can do that to pretty much anything if you didn't know that already. And then, add the potatoes.
Yeah, that's a great little hack to add a little extra volume to it.
They can put potatoes on your burrito, taco, whatever.
Yeah. Anyways, those are pretty good.
And they're usually open during the holidays.
Yes. Taco Bell is a tried and true option during the holiday for the most part.
You can also, and we've done this a couple of times, especially kind of early on when we were trying to figure out what the options even were, bring some easy stuff that you can make while you're at the hotel or the Airbnb or at your family's house or wherever you're staying.
Yeah. Usually when we're traveling, we're staying at an Airbnb or something, but like most of the stores aren't really open and like restaurants aren't really open because it's Christmas and Christmas Eve. So some of the things that we'll do is we'll bring protein tortillas, canned beans, and vegan cheese. And you're left with a gourmet feast.
Yeah, make your own taco bar.
Yeah.
You can also bring some prepackaged vegan meats. Again, this is like for yourself. Don't take the meat substitutes to your family. But you can eat them, pretty easily. You can take them, keep them in a cooler bag or something, throw them in the fridge when you get there. Pretty easy to prepare. They're already packaged. So.
Yeah. We really like blackbird seitan for that.
Yeah.
And then, when in doubt, take protein shakes.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Protein shakes, always a good standby. Protein bars, same thing. Oh, yeah.
And honestly, like, if you know you're going somewhere that's not going to have a lot of food, this is also just a good option. Just pregame your food so you're not starving.
Yeah. Especially the case if you've tried to have this conversation, like, hey, I'm going to be vegan. And they're like, well, none of the food I'm making is vegan, so good luck with that.
Yeah.
You're probably going to want to eat before you even go.
Absolutely. I think it's a good general rule, especially even if you don't know what you're walking into. Just like you don't want to be stuck somewhere for 6 hours and you're just hungry and crabby.
Yeah. Let's say probably like the first year that you're a vegan or vegetarian. So you're really still getting a feel for how everybody's going to react and what might be available to you. Just eat before you go.
Yeah, just a little pregame eating.
And then the last option, especially if you're having some hostile conversations about how this is going to go, you can always choose to just not go to that holiday thing that year, or at least until maybe the situation changes.
Yeah.
That's obviously a personal choice, and everybody feels a little differently about their family. But it is always an option. You can say no. You are, in charge of yourself as a person.
Yeah, and I feel like I've been seeing a lot more of this on like Reddit and threads and stuff with people just being like, hey, on Thanksgivings, like, I just don't go. And I think that's because Thanksgiving tends to be a holiday completely around food.
Yeah.
It's not like Christmas where there's also presents and stuff. Like, this is the food holidays. And some people don't even want to be around people eating meat. Like, I don't necessarily like being around people eating meat, but like, hey, we'd never see our families, so.
Yeah, and especially at like the big family Thanksgivings, it's like everybody made their special dish and brought it, and then they want to hear like if you liked it or not.
Yeah, it can be awkward.
You can't eat a lot of the stuff that they brought because like you can't make everybody make vegan food.
Yeah.
So it's just Thanksgiving in particular is kind of tricky.
That's one of the reasons we kind of stay home during Thanksgiving, aside from the fact that it's like double travel and back-to-back months. But yeah, we stay home during Thanksgiving and just kind of do our own thing and make our own stuff. But you could also do like a Friendsgiving.
Yeah, that's true.
Which I've been seeing. Those are like pretty popular right now, especially if you have like a little vegan group of friends. That could be fun.
Also, sometimes local vegan restaurants and stuff will have special Thanksgiving menus, so you can go and eat there at the restaurant with the Thanksgiving menu. Some of them even have it where you can like order ahead and pick up a whole Thanksgiving collection, basically, to bring home and eat.
Yeah. Yeah, I know Kitchen 17 in Chicago used to. R.I.P. Kitchen 17. If you didn't know, Kitchen 17 is closing this month, which is really, really sad.
Yeah, I think it'll be closing in like basically a week after this podcast comes out.
Yeah. So if you're in Chicago, you might want to hit that up before it closes. But yeah, they used to do like a Thanksgiving box or something that you could get. We just ordered a cheese and thank you one.
Yeah.
Because we're local to Chicago. So a lot of good stuff. A lot of your local vegan restaurants offer stuff like this, and you can support them during the holidays by grabbing one.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. I think that's everything we wanted to talk about for kind of how to deal with the holidays as a vegan. So if any of you guys have any questions, or maybe you're trying to navigate a conversation with your family members, you can send us a message. I mean, we're obviously not like therapists or anything, but maybe
we might destroy your whole relationship with your family member.
No, but maybe we can give some tips about like how we approach specific situations, and that may or may not work for you. Who the hell knows?
I have like a lot of years of dealing with people not eating meat, so
yeah. We've been around the block a little bit. Maybe we can help navigate some of that stuff. Or if you just want to know maybe some more ideas for things you might take, or you have a family member who like likes this thing, maybe would they like this thing?
Yeah.
You can send us a message about kind of any of that stuff.
Yeah, we also have some recipe roundups under the blog section of my website, proteindeficientvegan.com, like holiday sides, holiday appetizers, holiday desserts, holiday mains, the Thanksgiving best of section.
Yeah. So next up, our myth of the week. So the myth here is that you should look at grams of protein per 100 grams of weight.
Yeah, I disagree.
So this week we wanted to talk about protein percentage or protein density in food a little bit more.
This is a controversial topic, protein percentage. What does it mean?
Which is weird because, I mean, really, technically it only means one thing.
Yeah, you would think.
So the sticking point here is that I think a lot of non-Americans are used to seeing their food in per 100 grams.
Yeah.
Whereas in America, at least, we see our food in like per serving, and the serving is some arbitrary like 23 almonds or whatever.
Yeah.
1 tablespoon, something, whatever. So some people think about protein in terms of, okay, if there are 20 grams of protein in 100 grams of food, that food is 20% protein.
Yeah.
Which kind of makes sense for dry food, something maybe like a Cheerio or something. 20 grams of the 100 grams of this stuff is protein stuff. So sure, it's 20% protein.
Yeah.
But that really falls apart when you add in like water, for one, is the big one, obviously.
Or fat.
Yeah, or fat, exactly. So the way the grams kind of work are like 1 gram of protein is 4 calories, but 1 gram of fat is 9 calories. So if we're talking about 100 grams of something, if it's got a lot of fat in it, that's going to really skew the protein density if you're trying to look at it in terms of per 100 grams.
Yeah, which is why you'll see a lot of people saying that peanut butter is a high protein percentage.
Yeah.
Or like a good protein source because they're going off of the gram basis.
Yeah, but peanut butter is also very high fat, so it's got more calories from fat by a substantial amount.
Yeah, and I think if you have a crap ton of calories and you're not trying to hit that high of a protein goal and you just want to like efficiently eat the least heavy amount of food, I guess, that, like get in the most food you can because you have a lot of calories to eat, maybe you want to look at it on a gram basis, I guess.
Yeah, maybe. I just don't think there are many people out there who are like limiting how much food they eat in a day by the grams of weight.
Yeah, I kind of feel like if you're not looking at your food on like how many grams of protein am I eating a day, then you probably don't really care so much about the grams of protein on a 100-gram basis anyways. You know what I mean? Like if you're doing like macros and calories, I feel like you're more likely to look at percentage on a calorie basis.
Right. So I'm just going to say, and again, maybe not everybody will agree with this, but the right way to look at the protein density is the protein percentage in terms of calories. So again, 1 gram of protein is 4 calories.
Yeah.
So if you say I'm eating 2,000 calories today, like you have a calorie limit, which I mean, that's like everybody who's tracking their macros and their calories basically has a calorie limit that they're trying to target for the day.
And a protein goal.
And a protein
for the
goal.
most part.
Yeah. So the thing that actually says like how much protein can I afford to eat is the real question there is how much protein can I afford to eat without going over my calorie goal?
Right. Yeah. And I think like when you look at it on percent of calories, it really normalizes all the food. So you have like an accurate representation of how that's going to help you hit your protein goal and stay within your calorie goal versus like 100 grams of food and the percentage of those grams that are protein. That's not really normalized data. Like it doesn't really tell you anything else nutritionally. It could be 98% water, or like it could be 0% water, or it could be 50% fat,
Yeah. So one example I like to use is just thinking about a scoop of protein powder. Let's say I get like a 30-gram scoop of protein powder. Okay. It's got 20 grams of protein in it. So then you're saying, okay, 20 grams out of 30 grams of weight. Fine. But then I'll take the scoop of protein powder and I dump it in a cup of water. And now I weigh the whole thing as like a protein shake. Now it's going to be 20 grams of protein for, I don't know, 200 grams, right? Because the water weight. But the calories didn't change. The protein content didn't change. The only thing that changed was the weight of this mixture because of the water.
Yeah. I've gotten into this argument about silken tofu specifically, which is actually incredibly protein dense. It does have a lot of water though, but like, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Like you're tracking your calories and you're tracking your protein for the day. You're not tracking how many physical grams mass of food did I eat today. Like nobody has a limit on how many grams of weight of food they eat. It's not like I'm trying to only eat 500 grams of food today. Like that's not a thing. Yeah. So it's just kind of irrelevant, I think. So most tracking apps will actually either give you or you can manually set what your calories and your percentage of different macros is going to be. So usually like I use MyFitnessPal. So it'll say like your target is 25% protein. That means 25% of your calories should come from protein. So the way I like to structure my meals, because I'm not a protein powder girly, I don't like protein powder. It makes me gag. So I try to structure my meals with like, I'm not going to eat anything for the most part below 25% protein so that I can just eat like basically normal meals and not like supercharged protein dense meals and then low protein meals, if that makes sense. So that's kind of like my philosophy on getting protein. And that's what you'll see in my recipes is I tend to stick more around the 25 to 40% protein on a calorie basis on all of my recipes. And then if you're just eating that kind of stuff, you don't really need protein shakes.
Yeah. So I think I can call this myth as not true, right? Because again, it's easy for me to visualize because I think if I take a high protein thing and I just add a bunch of water to it, does that make it no longer a high protein thing? I think the answer is pretty obviously no.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
But then people are like, now it's 80% water. And it's like, but what does that mean? Like, water is 0 calories. Why do I care what percent water it is? Like, percent mass? I don't I don't understand how that's relevant.
So I do want to say, well, we consider the calorie basis to be the right way. I would love to hear from anybody who can tell us how you actually use the per 100 grams and like how you use that in a way that dictates the food you eat for the day. Because I've asked a lot of people this. Nobody's really had an answer. So I just don't really understand at all the value of looking at it in terms of per 100 grams.
Yeah. And I would even say if you are using this, I'm going to bet you're also using what we're talking about.
Yeah.
If you have a calorie and a protein goal, you have to look at that stuff.
Yeah, I think people are using the calorie thing and they just think they're looking at the same thing in terms of 100 grams.
Yeah.
I think they just don't really understand that those other things factor in, like the fat and the water. I really think somebody looks at 20 grams per 100 grams and thinks, oh, that's 20% protein. But that's just not how it works.
Yeah, I'm honestly just really sick of arguing with people that when I say extra firm silken tofu is 53% protein, they say it's 4% protein.
If you really want, you can press out, well, so not with silken, I guess, but with like tofu.
You kind of can.
Yeah, you can press out the water, drain the water.
Also, who gives a shit? Why do I care how much water's in it?
Yeah.
I care how many calories of the calories are protein. I don't know. It's silly. But if you have a good explanation, we're obviously like open to hearing it. Sorry for the rant. We argue with people a lot on this because I put percentage protein on a lot of my infographics.
Yeah.
And then people are like, you're wrong.
Yeah. All right. That's it for the myth. Next up, the food update we have for the week. You put out a new long form video again. This one is for your high protein pizza crust.
Yeah, this is my longest long-form video ever.
And I think it might be the best-looking pizza thumbnail on YouTube.
I don't know, but maybe the best vegan pizza for sure. I feel pretty confident. It looks pretty nice. It's like, 6.5 minutes, but it shows the whole step of what are you supposed to do with the dough, because dough can be kind of tricky to work with. I am not a baker, really. I'm just a girl that messes around with food. So if I can do it, you can definitely do it.
There's some good tips in there for the dough, too, like the stretch and fold method.
Oh, yeah, the old stretch and fold.
Yeah, and then you, stretch it over the top of the bowl.
Yeah, like a drum. That's pretty exciting stuff.
Yeah.
And then there's actually, a little section in there that tells you how to make the fresh vegan mozzarella that's shown on the pizza. So, yeah, 2 recipes for the price of 1 video, which is free because they're on YouTube.
All right. Well, be sure to subscribe. Try to leave us a review for the podcast if you can. Apple Podcast is usually the most helpful. Leave it wherever you want. Don't leave one at all. If you do, it helps us out. Also, we've got a link in the show notes where you can send us a text message. And then you can also go to the other links in the show notes for our social media, the website. You can contact us on any of those, and we'll get back to you.
And hey, if you disagree with us on the protein percentage thing, feel free to rip us a new one.
Yeah, I'm very open to changing my opinion on this. I have to know why.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that about wraps it up. Do you want to say bye?
Bye.
Bye, everybody.